Hey everyone, welcome back to Fat Man Paints, more specifically Fat Man Builds, as I work my way through these Termagants again. My internet is playing up tonight, so I may be on and off. It's not stable enough to do anything like watch TV or play video games, so I'm coming back to finishing off this terrible set of Termagants that I need to work my way through, and I'm so bored of them. But hey, we've got to go through them. Right, what we're finishing off first of all is these 10 Termagants with their Fleshborers. I've done 1, 9 more of these fellas to go, and then only 20 more. And if I get a chance, I'm going to finish those 20 bodies today. We'll see where we go. Sorry if you sent some text messages on the last stream. I wasn't paying any attention at all, and I wasn't ignoring you deliberately. I just had no idea they were there. So sorry about that. I have my new scalpel blade after breaking the last one. As I said, it's just time to go through and just start taking a piece off. Just taking off the seams, of which on these there are several. Sticking it on and rinse and repeat and repeat. And repeats, and repeats, and repeats. You can tell I want to do this, can't you? These sprues are older than any of my children. I think they are about as old as my... Nope, I think they're older than my marriage. 23 years old. And you know what? It shows a bit with some of the seams and lines that are coming through. I'm not doing a massive job on these. They are just frontline troops. I'm not too fussed about too many of the seams. I know that I made a bit of a thing about it when I was talking about cleaning them up, but there's only so much time you've got in this world, and there are much better things to be doing than cleaning up seams on 20-year-old plastic models that are never going to see the battlefield for any great shakes. It's just a case of tidying up as best as possible, making them presentable, sticking them on and waiting for them to be painted. So if you do join me tonight and you manage to stick around longer than 15 minutes, how long my internet sticks up, thank you. There's got to be something going on at the local exchange, make it this unreliable. Either that or Gig Clearer getting depending on what's going on. Well, these seem to be a little easier to stick on than the Devourers we put on yesterday. Seem to want to settle more into their spots. Well, I guess these were the original weapons that were meant to be on the kits, so it's not too much of a surprise. Give that a moment or two. Sprues are also, or the parts are also lighter than the Devourers, and I think that helps the attachment. They're a bit easier to support themselves. Two down. go. I still tend to use the nail emery board for some of the bits of ball joints where I've detached the part from the spring. These are all going to be hidden because there's part of the ball joints that go into the model body. You can be a bit more brutal with them. There needs to be less finesse is needed in sanding down those nugs. Oh, yeah. One thing I do need to do at some point is try and find some space in the house, get my light box set up so I can actually take some decent photos of finished things, the odd in progress shots, stuff like that, just to capture where we are, put it on Instagram or something like that. You can see what is actually going on here at a reasonable quality, because we all know that this camera sucks. You can't see anything. I have to admit, this is a lot easier than yesterday's Devourers. I don't know if I feel any better about that, relieved or not. Another empty spree for Games Workshop. I mean, the many that they will be getting from me. Got all Leviathans in there, those Warriors, those Vananthropes, these 36 Termagants, a whole bunch of other sprees from the new 10th edition releases. They're all ready to go to Games Workshop when I can remember to go. I don't actually go into the shops very often. It's only if I need an odd paint here or there. I'm kind of in something really critical. I find most of the online resellers are much more cost effective. They're far cheaper. 15-20% off. Free postage. You can buy an extra couple of models for the same price you'd pay at Games Workshop. Unless you're after something special. All limited offers. You're better off going there. In fact, I went to get some Salamander decal and extra sheets, but I ended up having to order them. I went to a Games Workshop to try and get them, but they didn't carry them. There's not enough demand, so I had to order them online anyway. So there you go. Right, we seem to have had some stability on the for a while. See how it carries on. Normally my Tuesdays are battlefield nights with a couple of online mates, but couldn't get a stable game this evening, so I'm going to have to push that out, maybe do that tomorrow instead. Right over there. Right, foregone. And let's rinse and repeat. 4 more again. So there's 2 different kind of body types with these near 2000 Termagants. So kind of a left and a right type. So made half of each, 5 of one, 5 of the other. There's 4 different poses for the Fleshborers. So what I'm trying to do is keep them all a bit mixed up and at least a little variety into them. So I do the same 4 on that, and then I'll pick 2 random ones to finish off the last 2. And then I will put them from the side and start with the remaining 20 bodies. Lovely joy. And when I start that one, I may just have to grab a beer before I get there. I think I might just go a little bit nuts otherwise. There are a lot of them, and a lot of seams, a lot of bases. The advantage is, at least at this point, there's only 3 pieces to go for each one. It's not like I'm constructing anything significant, but still, with the amount of cleanup each piece has, 3 is still 3. It still takes a little bit of time to get them all sorted. When I've got all of these done, I will have 80 Termagants, I think it is, which is nowhere near what I need for a maximum army. I think with 10th you can have up to 120, I believe, their battle line. So that means you have up to 6 units of 20. Just to feel a full complement, I still need another 40. Oh. You know what? Not entirely sure I want to do that. Though that depends on what the Christmas collecting box might be for the Tyranids. There might be something worthwhile picking up in those. We shall see. Truth be told, these are going to cut a fair bit easier than I was expecting it to. Still, no fun. The my internet seems to have been relatively stable, so I'll see how that carries on. Right. Certainly going through this quicker than I was anticipating, which is good. Oh, somebody pinged something. Bear with me a moment. Get you stuck in there. Hi there, Zeta Rogue. Sorry to be boring you doing this. It's boring the shit out of me. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I have to admit my computer is some way off where my desk is, so I do have to move off to the side a little bit to type and see that. I appreciate the support. Right. Another on. Let's keep going. It was much more enjoyable putting the Leviathan ones together. The new sculpts are quite nice. Far more variation, far easier to put together. A lot less cleaning up required on those ones. So far less to get those done than these fellas. Never mind. Let these 10 wraps up and have a little refreshment, I think. So once these guys are finished, in terms of my build, I've got One parasite left to do, but he's going to wait a while. He's not necessary. I'm going to start back on the painting. Next is going to be the Mawloc that I've got primed and ready. I've also got 10 Gene Stealers primed and ready as well. So they may be the next phase for the next week, so as I clear those through. Work permitting, some go live activity that I'll need to deal with, unfortunately, but it pays for the plastic. As always, using Tamiya extra thin. Excellent adhesive. Strong grips. Very durable. What I will do once these have all set, so in an hour's time or so, I will dab a little more glue just onto the joints. Just let the capillary action just draw that glue in a little further, so if there's some areas that haven't quite set, oops, they will just get a little, there we go, bugger. We'll get a little more glue and it'll just lock them in place. Come on you. There we go. Right, last one on this sprue. Another empty sprue for Games Workshop. There is a pile in the garage, I have to say. It seems really odd when they recycle the plastic. You can't actually turn them back into figures. You've got to go through a process, and I think a lot of them end up as kind of road fill and playground elements. And clothing, I think. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they can recycle it into. There's a nice, interesting section on the Games Workshop website, I think, about what they do with it, or the Warhammer community site, at least. Work's woken up. Careful on that on, there's a little bit of glue is spread out, so that might get a bit tacky. I don't want to put any fingerprints on there. Need to be careful of that. No, that'll do. Right, 2 left to do. As always, I use my nice zircons for my taking the pieces off the spring. Try and get as close as I can to the part. And the flat bit of the clippers flush against the piece. It does make cleanup a lot easier. But it also helps a bit however the screws are designed to make sure they get the gates right on those, otherwise it can be like pain tidying things up. Certainly in a scale model side of things, sometimes you get some absolutely horrific gates, almost as big as the piece itself. It makes cleanup of those a bit of a pain. There we go. Right, last piece of this, and then just one more Fleshborer, and these guys can pretty much join the Shelf of Shame. Oopsie-daisy. Yep. Like I said, then these guys can join the Shelf of Shame. Have I done something wrong there? I used the wrong arm. No mind. Wrong arm, bits of variety. Never mind. Unique pose. How about that then? Just water. At least for the moment. And the last piece. And I can put these off to the side for the time being while I work on the bodies of the next 20. So I'm still not sure what I'm going to arm those 20 with. So as it stands at the moment with these, we've now got 30 with Fleshborers, 30 with Devourers, at least 20 spare. I'm tempted to go with Spine Fists because they'll be a bit different. Spine Fists are okay melee if you can get the line there. They're effectively pistols plus their scything talons or whatever their melee attack is, so they twin links. Yeah, if you can get them into combat, they're not too terrible. Of course, if you're just playing casual, I don't think anybody really cares. Just saying what you think, what they're all going to represent, and as long as it's all pretty understood, who cares? Right, last piece. Let's see if we can get this odd match of armoured gun to go together now. just have to pull it off the other one. You little bugger. I want you to stick, you're not, are you? Let's try again. Yeah, that's better. There we go. Actually went to go there. Better than anticipated. Right. Another set done. Another sprue or two to go off to the side. These aren't quite empty yet. I do have... There's the rest of these fuckers. Right. Bodies. Bases. Tedium. One of these is open. As I said the other day, I've already taken all the rippers off these. Rippers have been assembled and put somewhere. So all I'm going to do now is just start trundling through. Scalpel, usual tools, get my cheap clamps, just pegs with kind of a soft bit so they don't squash the plastic too much. I have many more, I've lost them over the years. Alright, let's go. These guys do take a fair bit of cleanup. And even though they only are just frontline little troops compared to the rest of the things, these take a little bit of time to tidy them up. It does make a bit of a difference when you come to painting, even if they are little, and even if I'm moaning about the state of them. You know, take off the major seam lines, at least. Take off the nubs from the gates. Take off any flesh that may be present on the model. I think, as I said in one of the other streams, that my painting technique relies a lot on washes and dry brushes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, any detail on the model that's highlighted or recessed really catches the paint. Unfortunately, that does include seam lines, nubs and things like that, so spending a little bit of time just to get the most of them off as you can will help, certainly with my style of the finished model itself. camera plate doesn't pick up too many of the seam lines, unfortunately. Still can't afford a reasonable camera. It is a nice Logitech webcam, but it's just not quite good enough for this. I can't afford a DSLR, not just for doing this. The quality might have to wait a bit. Sorry about that. It wasn't too bad, was it? So when I take items off the sprue, I think I said this the other day as well, I always try and look for the weakest part of the model. Let's take that off first, because that reduces the stress on that part when you cut off the other elements from the gate. So you're less likely to get breaks on the model if you do it that way. You still get some, but if you take the stress away from the finest connection points, it does make life easier, and you are less likely to get any damage on those. Though I do have to admit, for the most part, the Plastic Games Workshop use is very forgiving in terms of this. I think it's partly because the figures are designed for the game desktop. You know, they're there to be played with, they're touched, moved, dropped, banged, knocked over, so they need a bit of resilience in the plastic. I know some of the scale models, Dragon models for example, they're much more brittle plastic in their kits, but then again those are more meant for display pieces rather than game pieces, which is what we've got here. So I'm using a Swanmorton number 11 blade for my cleanup. Use whatever you want, any modelling knife, an X-Acto, just one of those simple things. I tend to use the sharp end of the blade for scraping. I know some people recommend the dull side, but I'm quite comfortable using the sharp end. I don't cut myself that often, honestly. And using the sharp side just gives a little more control, I find, on the scraping. It's almost a bit like shaving. You're just pulling the sharp edge along. You're not cutting, you're not pushing down, you're just gently dragging. It just catches the slightly raised bit and pulls it off the model. And it just takes off that edge, that seam work. For these fellas this is fine. If it's a large model or a larger nub, that's when I tend to use a sanding stick to help get that all. Oh dear, what's going on there? Sorry, that wasn't very flush, so I think I just missed scraping a bit off the insides. Let's just keeping it up. There we go, that's fine. That's better. So in terms of sanding stick, you can buy really expensive stuff like these, which are a bit flexible, different grit on either side, very good for curved surfaces. Or you can buy simple nail emery boards, really cheap, get them at your pound shop. They do the job perfectly and they're really cheap. You spend enough on various bits and pieces for the hobby, so if you can get up a piece and that does the job really well and it's not expensive, go for it. You'll find that I use a lot of bits and pieces like that just regular cocktail sticks, toothpicks, blue tack, offcuts of wood here and there. Anything that's to save a little bit of money, because we all know that the models themselves are really expensive. So if we want to buy them, save money elsewhere. No, the two things I don't skimp on are my side clippers, my glue. I won't pick anything else. I think having a really good sharp side clippers is a must. I think without it, certainly I'd be lost. It is my go-to tool. You can use it to clean the nubs off, taking items from sprues, which is 90% of what you do in the model preparation. So yeah, I wouldn't be without it. It is my tool of choice. In terms of glue, one day I'll get around to doing a tutorial on different glues, but for sticking plastic together you need kind of I find quite an aggressive type glue. You clearly don't want things like a PVA or kind of a wet wood glue. Super glue can do the job, but I just tend to find that it can be a bit brittle and it can be a bit unforgiving. That kind of contact, you put the piece in, the super glue dries, and well, that's where it is. Whereas at least with this kind of more type glue, it does a bit of dissolve, it melts, it kind of performs a weld. You've got a little more time to get your piece in exactly the position you want. But also the seam or the seal between the pieces, the join, because you've actually melted the plastic together, much more resilient. Does cause a few problems if you wanted to separate the pieces in the future, but generally I don't want to do that. I've made the piece, we're all good. I don't really want to break the parts apart to change anything. I know some people do change it on the flavour of the month depending what the new meta is, but we started our Tyranid collection just before lockdown, so what's that, 3 and a bit years ago, 2 and a bit years ago, 3 and a bit, 3 and a bit. So we've never been chasing the meta, we've just been slowly building a large hoard. Consume that biomass. Consume, spread. Nom nom nom. Yo.
Do you want me to sit down?
Yeah, please. Right, last piece from this sprue. And we're just left with a bunch of weapons. And then I'll take a few minutes break, I think. Check the football score, see if Man City recovered from their embarrassing half-time score. It's like 20 odd shots on the target. I might have to put up a survey about what I build. Sorry, what I paint next after I've got my Mawloc done. I don't know what we should do next. I might pick something from 10th edition. Something from the Leviathan seems like it might be a good plan. But one of the larger fellas. After building these fuckers for a couple of nights, I am done with little things. I really, really am. So yeah, listener, if anybody's there at all, you have a thought of whether these fellas should, these new 20 should have Devourers, Spine Fists, Fleshborers, let me know. Ping it in the chat. I'll glance over once in a while. We can pick something. Is that not settling yet? Oh no. No, I'm not happy. Better. There we go. Right, another sprue with just weapons. Very wobbly camera there. Right, back in a moment or two. Alright, back. Right, signed a bit of a treat. Bottle of Breakspears, Oxford Gold, golden type beer. See how we do with this one. Nice golden ale. This is my village's annual beer festival coming up at the weekend. Oh, that's quite nice. Oh. So maybe some more ales will be had at the weekend. Maybe just one or two. Or three. Maybe 4 or 5, truth be told. Possibly a couple more, and then a couple more to round off. It'd be great to catch up with friends. Have a good night. If I ever get there and survive this monotony Termagant swarm. It is, as we said, getting a little bit monotonous. It's boring for me. I don't know about you guys. Pretty fucking boring for you too. Never mind. The general thing is I would be doing this anyway. So hey, if my monotone voice manages to send somebody else to sleep, all the better. If you pick up a little hint or tip along the way, better still. Let's be honest, you probably know what you're doing already. You're not going to learn anything particularly new from me. So you're not on the construction phase. There's nothing special going on here. Boy, they need to be finished. Sorry about that, I was just saying good night to my daughter. And in a minute you'll hear the dog go ballistic as he's about to go for a walk and he gets a little bit excited. Good night, Pedal. See you in a bit. Yeah, there we go, that's the dog. Very keen for his walk. It's starting to get quite chilly in the evenings now back in the UK. Like, granted it's halfway through September, so probably not unexpected. We have had some late heat waves really that have been quite nice. I think that's over now. I think we're about to hit all wet and miserable autumnal weather as we normally have. Central heating will go on in a couple of weeks' time. Energy bills go up. Watch the pennies. Take off the shorts, put on the long jeans, put the jumpers on. All the regular stuff. Right. 6. Right, if I do number 7, I just got to do a house chore. I'll be on for a few moments. Some point I need to do a bit of a family photo of everything that's been finished and then the embarrassing photo of everything that's left. Which there's more than I'm particularly care for, it has to be said. But it's one of the reasons why I've started doing this. If I can make sure I'm on most nights, or at least 3 or 4 nights a week, an hour or 2 each time, we will eventually clear, not backlog down, they will all go. And once they all go, I can work on the Space Marines that I've not been buying, because they've come with a Leviathan box, they've come with a No Fear box, and whatever other 8th edition starter set there was, like Dark Imperium, that was it. So, at some point, I'll get to paint those as well. Yeah, for salamanders. Nicest of the fascist space marines. So that's the choice. So we have salamanders, Tyranids. Got a little bit of Death Guard in the backlog, but those again from the 8th edition starter sets before we really knew what we were doing, before we knew what our main faction was. And I have to admit I have a lot of Tau as well, who are, for the most part, semi-built. I hit the magnetisation stage and I started magnetising crisis suits, and I kind of lost the will a bit because there were so many magnets. But hey, the intention is that everything will be built, everything will be painted, and I will finish what I've started. Right, I need to step away for a moment. There we go. House bin's emptied. Time to crack on. This one will be number 8. Another sprue, just weapons. And let's carry on. So nicely seen down the middle of you. Well, amazingly, the internet doesn't seem to have gone down over the past hour or so, so whenever they were doing at the exchange, they're probably finished now. So it seems to be a very, very clear 5:30 to 9:30, a 4-hour window, so hopefully that makes life good for tomorrow. That I can do my job here with stable internet rather than have to commute. Fortunately, I've got a job that allows me to work remotely as needed for the most part. Sometimes they're not quite as forgiving. Hey ho. One of the things I always do when I finish using, even just to do a bit of glue, is make sure I put the top on. I have spilt one too many pots of glue over the years, so I've just now got very much into the habit of just putting the top back on in case that happens. It has been a while since I've lost any. I don't want to get my nice shiny new cutting mat messed up. There's plenty of time for that. Don't have to do it when it's still pretty new. Right, what's this, number 9? some point in the coming couple of weeks or months I am going to have a bit of a palette cleaner, and I am going to switch to my first love, which is just straight scale models. I have some interesting 1/35th scale armour and helicopters I collected over the years, and I have my eye on wrapping up a nice little simple helicopter build. There's a take on kit. Look over my shoulder. Yeah, nice little take on kit. 2 models in there, nice and simple and straightforward. They are UAVs, so no cockpits, sealed cockpit areas, so no fiddly control stats to do, nothing like that. So it might be a nice bit of a palette cleanser, get me back on the airbrush out in the garage again. I do need to clear space in the garage to be able to do that. I don't have a spray booth inside. The fumes and that are just too much really to cope with inside, so I do all my spraying, priming, sealing with the varnishes, airbrushing, all that happens in my garage, so it can only happen a few times during the year. You don't want to heat a garage too much. It's an expensive waste of money and electricity to do that. Oops. So you've got to pick your weather. Number 10. But before then, got to finish these Termagants. And also got to finish painting the Mawloc we've got here. I mean to show you. So it's primed, based, tidied up. Big fella. Ready to go. Mostly looking forward to painting. It's going to be quite interesting. There's an awful lot of chitting and carrot paste there to do. And as my style really picks up on all of this, and feather and what have you, that's going to take a while. I did a Trigon a couple of months back, and it took 15.5 hours in total from start to finish, excluded priming and building, but the painting from starting with that white undercoat like that to finishing the base, yeah, it took 15.5 hours. Wonder if I can get this one done any quicker. Lucky you guys will get to join me if I haven't bored you to death by then. Or if I haven't bored myself to death by then. Now, I'm not too bothered about all these little bits of plastic that are sitting on the model, because way before they get to the actual paint, before I really prime, they get a nice soak in mildly warm soapy water. I just use sort of normal washing up liquid, dish cleaning soap kind of stuff, fairy and what have you. And just put a little bit in a bowl, mildly warm water, and then just dunk them in and out several times. Let the that detergent lift off any of the grease that they get done from handling. You know, your hands are full of grease all the time, so when you touch them when you're building, you're transferring that on, so that gets rid of all of that grease that you've put on. As you know, when you cook, if you put a bit of grease in the bottom of the pan, that stops things from sticking. Likewise, greasy fingers on models, stops paint from sticking to them, so we don't want any of that. So they always get a clean in warm soapy water before I actually start the priming process. And once they are primed, as you saw with the Mawloc, I've got some G-Steelers here as well. I put them on a small bit of wood, none of that expensive Games Workshop grip thing for the models. I just put them on a bit of wood so I don't actually have to touch the model at all when I'm painting. And it just means that, like I said, those greasy fingers now, they're just on this base, which will be taken off when it's varnished, and then I'll reuse that bit of wood for the next figure I need to put on there. So I'm not too fussed about these little off bits of plastic on here because they'll all come off in that cleaning process, and it won't affect the finished model at all. Right. Yep, 10 done. We're halfway through the build of those. Right, just give me a moment. I need to do some home network internet crap. Back in a minute. Right. Onwards. he is. Thought I lost that for a minute. I don't know whether I'm the slowest builder in the world, or all these people who complain can say that they build 10 Termagants in 8 minutes are just taking the piss. You cannot be doing a good job. You can't take 45 seconds per Termagant if you want to try and tidy it up. I suspect that's the key. They're just off the nub, off the sprue. Don't clean up any seams, don't clean up the nubs. Whap, together, done, next one. Which is great if you want. I know, I melted my mat. Glue spill, but not as expected. Nope, let's take the weak point first. As always, take the model's integrity. There we go. Other weapons through, done. What I think I'll do with those, so I'm going to see, make sure I've just got 10 of each weapon type, so I decide what I want, the rest. Take the pieces off the sprue. I don't need, so I can add those sprues to the recycling pile, add the bits that I don't need, into the spares box to never see the light of day again. Now I do have a little plan for some of the toxin sacks. They look like little space bugs, little space slugs. I've got an idea of a 1/700th diorama that might use them as the bad guys, at least as the alien. That's something I'll work on another day. Very much on my list of things to do once I have finished the Horde. It's going to involve a lot of scratch building, but with the advent of 3D printing, it's more a case of scratch CAD and designing those bits in a CAD system. A nice warm ream, print off your bits, spend a bit of time tidying up, cleaning off those rubbish chemicals that you've been using, and get your piece nice and ready, including whatever the project you're doing. Oopsie daisy, there we go, cut myself. So it happens often. Normally not with the scalpel though, normally. I like doing stupid things like getting the tin out of the cupboard. yeah, I have managed to cut my finger putting a pillowcase on a pillow. I can't quite remember how I managed to do that, but I did, and the kids find it hilarious. In fact, I find it fucking hilarious that I can do that. I don't even know how it's possible. But there we go. I think with that one I just was a bit aggressive when I flipped the scalpel around. It's not deep, it's all fine. How's he done? Nearly. Well, so D-Rug, if you're still with us, I hope you aren't entirely bored shitless yet. Because I am. Right, that's that Brack Spear done. Let's do one more. Then I'll go and get something different. I don't have a lot of variety left in the fridge. I think I've got a can or two of Carlsberg. No, not even that. Carling. I'll have some shit British lager to go after. But, and this is his only redeeming factor, it's going to be cold. It will be a very cold pint of lager. Yeah, it's quite musty. Nope.
Yeah, and then I'm going to have a snack. A small drink, and then brush my teeth and go to bed.
Okay.
I don't really even have a shower.
You probably do.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm shouting at ghosts. Yes, so my virtual play list for today, because obviously I can't stream what I would be listening to normally. I'd probably be going for a bit of James today. My old favourite bands from Manchester. Probably start off with a bit of Gold Mother move on to some of the greatest hits. Did like a bit, James. Conveyor belt moves along. Right, on that note, time to replace the lager. A satisfying sound. As I said, nice and cold. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to go. In some ways this becomes a bit metronomic. Repeats, repeats, repeats. But luckily, when I finished these 7 bodies, I put these 7 bodies on bases and finally decided what weapons these 20 Termagants are going to have. I will never ever have to build one of these little fuckers again. Not saying I won't buy any Termagants. I think 10th head 2023 releases are probably going to be fine to build. I don't mind those. Much less work, much more accurate, much more varied. These kits from the year 2000. No. Never again. I'm saying that I am on the lookout for just six Termagants in the same kind of release time. I've got 24, so in a 10th edition, 24 is useless. You need 20 or you need 30. And of course, if I buy 10th edition, you get 10. So I'm looking for is half a box of the old ones. I need to internet it up a little bit. There are also buggers to do. And I might just have to accept that no, 4 of them are just going to sit on the sidelines forever. Look, it's not a part of the army we tend to feel. I mean, they're very melee orientated, aren't they? A bit like these guys if they had spine fists. Get a post up. No, a pole. That's the word I was looking for. Do that after this. Find out what you, listener, reckons I should do for armies for these guys. Spine fists, Devourers, Fleshborers, mix thereof. 21. 20 of another. 10 of a couple. I guess stick in there. There we go. Shall we go along?
jump. Can't believe you.
What, that makes you jump?
You opened the door, I was walking past and I jumped out my seat.
Oh well. Never mind.
Good.
What?
You made him jump. So the internet's been absolutely stable since 9:30.
Yeah.
So what I reckon between 5:30 and 9:30, which is 4 hours,
Yeah.
you were doing something.
Yeah.
And then it's absolutely fine. So, end of the working day kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's good. For Furfest,
Uh-huh.
do you want any tokens? Should I buy? Because you will be buying stuff, won't you?
Yeah.
So I'll buy 10 tokens, which is 5 pints.
Yeah.
If I buy 2 sets, that'll cover us both for both days. Right? Do you want a dated mug, or do you want to take your own?
We'll take our own because we've got millions in the cupboard.
I'm tempted to buy one just for the.
I know, but might as well. We have so many which we don't actually use.
It's not the point.
Pardon? There's no
Yeah.
point.
No, it's not the point. I'll finish the order for them in a bit. The weekend ticket.
Yeah.
Sorry, a little off camera there. Let's just have a quick chat to the wife. Right. With my little card, I'd better remember not to delve into any salt. Anything like that. That would be a mistake. Right. 16. Weapon sprue. Off to the side. We go again. Almost went on the floor. Right, when I finish the last of the construction of these guys, before I put them on the bases, I'm just going to touch in the joints of these fellas one more time. So this is where the arms meet, so the sockets on the body to the arms, the joint between the arm and the weapon. Just let the glue just go into those little gaps. Any capillary action will just draw that into any extra areas, and hopefully that should just then lock them in place permanently. So we shouldn't have any issues with those coming apart anytime in the future. And then they can quite happily go off, join our shelf of shame for painting at some time in the far future. Because let's be honest, before these guys get painted, we'll be painting the 10th edition versions. If I get any more 10th edition versions, they'll also be ahead of the game on painting from these fellas. A bit ahead of myself there. Long way to go. So many other interesting things to build and paint before then. Paint actually is probably more appropriate title for that one. The last sprue. So if you're still watching, God, you must be bored out of your brain. I know I am. I presume there's got to be people at Games Workshop who do this kind of 24, well, for the day's job. They just build and paint those displays they put up, photos. I don't know if that would just ruin the hobby for me. Ooh, one sec. In terms of weaponry, I think my lad may have made an executive decision what he wants to field. So we are doing 10 more Devourers and 10 more Fleshborers. So our Rust will have 40 of each. I hated putting on those Devourers. Fleshborers, they were fine. Devourers that I did yesterday, oh, I was swearing away. They were not nice. They did not want to play. Never mind. That's what we're doing. No spine fists. Spine fists will not be a thing. I'll leave the melee to the rippers. Leave the melee to some of the swarm lords. Warriors. In fact, a lot of the army aren't really heavy hitters, are they? Pivor. Slew gun. Number 17. No, number 18. Sorry, I was drifting further and further away from the light and the mats, which meant I was drifting further and further away from the camera. Shitty camera. At some point I will replace it if people start watching. So before it's a bit like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's why we need Eddie Van Halen. People won't watch if I've got a shitty camera. I need people to watch to justify getting a better camera. How on? Oops, missed a bit. Yeah, I've still got some James's tracks flying around my head. What I'm going to have to start doing is actually getting a playlist together, post it on Spotify, and actually add it to the stream list, aren't I? I think that's the way it needs to work. And you can all comment on my shitty music taste as well as my shitty colour, my shitty lager, my super bedside manner. Yep. Two more to go. On that note, it's time to refresh. Noise again. $19. Here we come. With my last choice of weaponry, that means if we do want spine fists, a proper what you see is what you get approach, you have to deal with those with new models. I think I'm quite happy with that. I think what it means is they will never factor into our roster. Ranged weapons it be. I still need to figure out what I'm going to paint after the Mawloc. Too much choice. I have sense to clear these gene stealers down. And they're done. I think I managed to accumulate 40 gene stealers. 10 are painted, 10 are primed, 20 sitting grey on the shelf. But with 10th, I can never run more than 30 with 3 squads of 10. So 10 of those fellas are just going to sit there forever until the rules change. Remain as grey blobs. It'll be the last thing, the absolute last thing that gets painted, because they will never see the battlefield unless the rules change for them. course, now we've got new sculpts, nobody'd be interested in buying them either. So there we go. So close. Well, so close for this evening, that's. Maybe we'll do some more. We'll see. I'm not going to be battlefielding tonight, I don't think. I can't be asked. And then again, it is past 11 o'clock. Is a school night. There is always tomorrow. But I still have to put these guys on bases, which I do want to get done tonight. Oh yeah. I want to get these on bases. I want to get these fellas keyed in again. I want to tidy up those sprues. That's all that's left. There's 10 Devourers, 10 Fleshborers. We're good to go. Anyway, let's see. Do have a couple more cans of beer in the fridge. Could be fuel for the process. It does mean when I've finished. I'm done. Don't need to do them again. To be honest, at this point, I'm very happy with that. Well, I am doing a sterling job, even if I say so myself, of tidying up these models. They will get a final once over just before they go into prime, just to make sure that nothing's left, nothing's missed. Because let's be honest, after doing 20 of these tonight, 16 yesterday, however many the day before, God, anyway, 36 over a couple of days, I will have missed bits because I've been so bored. Lord have mercy. Tiny fuckers dumb. Now, if you watched the other day, you'll see that I also tidy up the bases. People sometimes forget this. With my other bag of bases. Put them somewhere safe. Ah, there they are. So sometimes people forget to tidy up the bases. These are still bits of the model. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and one spare. Those are my other spare bases. Right, for these, if I can find an example. Sometimes because of the way the cast, you'll get little nubs and marks on the side. These are all actually looking okay. Sometimes you get a bit of mark in the nub in the middle. Sometimes you get a bit of flash through the centre as well. There's not a lot here, but you can maybe see a little bit. It's just a little bit of flash that's there, just needs a bit of a clean. So what I also tend to do is I just like to, there we go, it's probably almost impossible to see, but there's a bit of flash, a little bit of a mark there. So what I like to do with these is just run, where is it, a smooth sanding stick, curved one, not expensive ones. I just like to rub it around. You can see how it is, it's spongy, it keeps the shape of the piece without flattening it off. That just takes the mark off. So the bases are part of the models themselves. If you don't tidy them up, it will show when you finally finish off the base. When you put the edge or paint the rim of these, which frames the model after you've done all the other work. If you've not quite tidied it up, it will show. And while it won't be a major detriment to the model, it won't enhance it. Right. 1:19 to go. God, this is so fucking repetitive. Hi there, Ella Logan. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good evening. I hope I don't bore you doing this as much as it's boring me. Anyway, I hope you're all good. I hope your evening's going well, or your morning, or your afternoon, depending wherever you may be. Personally, it's getting on a little bit for me. It's now 11:30, is it? Something like that. Put my old man glasses on and see. Yeah, 11:30. They're about 25 past. Let's see how we go. Right, it's kind of okay. Well, you've caught me towards the end of my cycle here. Yeah, I'm all good. Logan, so it caught me at the end of the cycle here. I'm just going through tidying up all these bases. And then I'm going to be sticking these 20 Termagants on them. And maybe doing a little bit more on the weapons, but it depends what time it gets to. I don't want it to be too late for me. Ah! Painter, welcome. I'm not painting today, unfortunately. I've got some prep to do for these builds. Oops. But I will be back painting, hopefully, to probably Thursday. So my models tend to come out a bit like this fella. Start from the rubbish grey, as you know, and we turn up from this one. A lot of work to take him from one to the other, but as you must know if you do your own painting. Do you have a favourite faction, or are you a little bit of everything? Ah, Dante, one of the nice centrepiece models. That'll be quite a special on that one. There's a lot of work will go into that one. Are you painting for yourself, or are you painting for other people? Yourself, awesome. I think doing this for a hobby is great. Doing it for a job, it's I would suck the life out of it for me. You know, pay for yourself. If you're happy with the results, there you go for it. So as well as painting Warhammer, building Warhammer stuff, I also do a lot of 1/35th scale armour. So the likes of Dragon, Trumpeter, Meng and such like. You stick mostly to Warhammer, or do you paint a lot of other kind of minis, busts, build other models? Ah, Heresy as well as 40k, excellent. I have to admit that it's an absolutely awesome feeling when you look at your model set. You've got a whole army, you've got a painted brigade there, you know, 10s, 20s, 30s of models all painted on the tabletop together. They do look awesome. It's great to see. If you've got an Insta account, ooh, Vampire Courts. When I grew up with the original Games Workshop, when they were in the 80s, and they were basically the primary source of cast metal figures. So your the original kind of white metal stuff, the Ralpath of the Citadel. I used to play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Skeletons were also always my favourite. I thought they were awesome models. I always fielded them as a DM. I always got my my adventurers up against them at least one time or another on the field. I really did enjoy them. I enjoyed painting them. I'm almost tempted to buy a box of skeletons just for old time's sake, just to paint them up and put them just on the shelf with the others. I think some of the new releases that Citadel or Games Workshop have done for the Vampire Courts are looking pretty good, to be honest. There's some really interesting stuff. Oops. We're not even halfway yet. I suppose with many of these things I made a rod for my own back. Now I've started it for one thing, I need to continue onwards. Oh wow, you're following in your dad's footsteps. My son is. I don't play Warhammer. I don't know, for some reason it just doesn't tick the boxes for me. I love the models. I love building them. I love painting them. I've not really. Well, so it's only since my lad got back into. My lad likes playing. It's only when my lad kind of started getting back into it that I switched from my scale model kits of the tanks and aeroplane type stuff. and I moved into building and painting these things. So I've been, kind of aware of Warhammer in the hobby for, how old am I now? 40 years, and it's I've still got a whole bunch of my Citadel metal figures in some boxes behind me. It's only probably in the last 3 years or so that I've switched from building those scale models to really focusing on the Warhammer stuff. And I have to say, it's certainly the quality of the later releases from Games Workshop. The models, they're really very good quality. They go together really well. It's a joy to build them. Certainly compared to some of, say, the old Airfix kits, which are a nightmare. I don't enjoy those whatsoever. So if your dad's been collecting for 35, is he now kind of does he play Warhammer, or is he just more of a figure collector? Lord Itero, absolutely. Horde armies. I tell you what, I am absolutely fed up tonight. But this is the last of them. Once I've done these, I'm done. I'm done on my hordes. They are finished. I've only got a couple models left to build. Some of the new 10th edition releases for Tyranids. They'll be done. But no, once these are done, it's back to the painting. As I've mentioned elsewhere, next up we have a Mawloc that we need to paint. He's based, he's primed, he's dropped, he's ready to go. So he's next. Just got to get these guys finished first. First gen Space Marines. Painting him up as a salamander. This is from the first set of boxes. There was 30 Space Marines in one box. Goofy as hell. Beaks. I'm kind of experimenting a bit with how this fella comes out. I've got to work on his shoulder pads a little bit. He's a salamander. He's in the reserves. So he's got kind of orangey shoulder pads. I'll work my way through these. So we'll see. He's the first of them. He's a bit of an experiment. It's not got too far. Well, all awesome work to do. No, that wasn't metal. That was actually a plastic. So that's the first plastic Space Marine set that they did. Lord Itero, knights, one big fella. 5 in an army. I have a knight. I bought one at Christmas as a present for myself. It's sitting still in the shrink wrap because I don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. But the knights are absolutely awesome. They are genuinely amazing models. I mean, who doesn't like an 8-inch tall robot mech on the table? Awesome stuff. Wow, some original metal Space Marines. I did have a few. I had a metal Tech Marine, or 3 metal Tech Marines. I sold them. I got good money for them, but I sold them a few years back. I was clearing out some items. It's kind of bizarrely before I got back into Warhammer, or my lad got back into Warhammer. So yeah, a little regrets, but not a lot really. It gave me some money to buy some different models. Oh, for fuck's sake! Right, we're getting there. Go for the salamanders. They're awesome. The nicest of the fascist space marines, I tell you. There's also some really great paint jobs you can do. For the basing for mine, we're going for kind of a Martian effect. I've got a couple of Primaris ones done actually. I might try and just go and grab them off the shelf in a minute when I've finished this last base, and I need to take a minute away. But they also give you an opportunity, salamanders, to lean into that kind of Vulcan, to lean into that volcanic one. There's some really, really simple bases you can do for volcano type lava bases, just with some of the crackle paint. They work really, really well. 3 more. Oh well. That's your mother obviously loves your father to spend to buy Warhammer models. I think that's pretty awesome. I know that my lad, he's had an awful lot of birthday gifts of models over the past few years, and I've bought myself some models as birthday presents, but I don't think anybody's gone out of the way to directly buy me any. But hey, pretty awesome. And if they've been known each other 32 years, that's also absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. It's a long, long time. But come on. Right, last of these ones, and then I can stick these 20 onto these little things. And then I think that might have to be it for tonight. I don't think I can face doing anymore. It's been, as you say, Horde Armies, it is repetition, and this is just the build. I've still got to repeat that paint scheme over, God, what, so 60 Termagants, 20 of the new edition, 40 more of the old 2000 sculpts. Right, I'm taking a moment's break. That's been enough scraping for me. I'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes. There we go. Sorry for that interruption. Right, so I don't know how well the camera will pick these up. Here's a couple of painted, finished Primaris intercessors done up as salamanders. At some point I'm going to get these posted with good photos, get them on an Insta or something. But compared to the Tyranids, these are an absolute joy to paint. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I'm quite pleased how they came out in the end. I did buy the Games Workshop Salamander sprue updates and decal sets for them. That set them off quite nicely. They are a little dark, these fellas. They've come out almost a bit more like Dark Angels than Salamanders, but you know, with the shoulder insignia and that, we all know who they are. I said, the good guys. Right. Beer down. Another one. This is soul destroying work. You got him. Smoke him. Do I know any good night Blood Knight proxies? Ooh. I have to admit, I don't know much about AOS. I pretty much, apart from some of the models around the Vampire Court stuff, which I think are pretty awesome these days, I genuinely don't know much about them. I'm more of the 40k mark, so I can't help you with that, unfortunately. You could always try one-page rules. OPR, they kind of try and run analogue models or armies to a lot of what Games Workshop have. So they've got, certainly in the 40k space, you've got your Battle Brothers and Battle Sisters, you know, for Space Marines and what have you. They do a Tyranid type, they do a Necron type, and I know they've got a lot of for their fantasy rule set as well. So they've got a lot of models that come out of there. So I check out the one-page rules, see what they've got on their Patreon, see what they've got in cults. If you want to do any 3D painting, I know they also sell prints of their models too. So maybe have a look at that, see if that ticks the box for you and what you need on that one. Right. Let's move. These ones are done for the time being. Move them over. Right, when I glue these onto the bases, I do tend to put them on just a piece of paper while they dry, just in case any of the glue comes through the base. I don't want it melting my cutting mat, so I just let them dry and rest on just on a piece of paper, so they're all good. Sticking with my Tamiya extra thin. Won't use any other glue. Best there is. Right. Let's start the repetition once again. I need tweezers for this one. I need glue. Let's go. Certainly with attaching to the bases, I like to be quite generous on the glue. We don't want them ever coming off again. Set them down, make sure they are flat, so we've got not too much work to do when we fill up the base as part of the basing process. When we prep them for painting. If anything, it's better that they go below that slot than before. Right, and also I am so thankful that this slotter bases have pretty much gone. They don't help the model. You've got no real options to stick a coin underneath for weighting. Yep, eBay's a good choice. maybe get some Bloodlords on there. That might Blood Knights from there. That might be one. People selling armies. I just feel in the hobby there's an awful lot of meta chasing that sometimes goes on. So people buy an army, build it quickly, badly, paint it quickly, averagely, just so they get their 3 colours on the table, 3-coloured army on the table. Yeah, I'm on Saturday. So there's always a market for people selling stuff. Ah, Troll Trader. Might give those a look. Might have a bit of a see what they've got going for them as well. I think I've heard of those guys before, actually. Good luck on your search. I hope you find exactly what you need for your army. I'm sure one day this will all be over and these models will be finished. So I think once these are done, in total I think I've got 1 Parasite, 3 Bivor Pivors, 1 Lictor, 1 Death Leaper, 1 Euro Lictor and a Norm Emissary, and that's the only things left to build. But of those, the Parasite is mine, so that's for me to build. The rest are my son's. So they will all still go into the painting shelf, but at some point over the next couple of months, with a bit of luck, they will all end up on the painting desk. So it'll give me something to work at. Ah, you've found a good deal on your Blood Knights. Excellent. Is it a whole army? Is it just a couple of options? No, excellent. I know in the UK, where I am, there's quite a few independent traders who sort of sell Games Workshop models, and a lot of them will do sort of 20% off. Some do even 25% off the recommended price. So it's you can get some really good deals on brand new kits. To be honest, it's where I get most of mine from. So the saving you can make on that is the equivalent of buying another kit or two, depending on what you buy. Considering how expensive Games Workshop models can be, you know, every penny you save helps pay for the next model, the next set of paints, the next paintbrush. Yeah, don't worry about food. Plastic is the way. This is the quickest this has gone all night. Right, let's get these out of the clamps. My cheap clothes peg clamps, they do the job really well. Nothing fancy. There we go. Right, what's that? 9 more to go. Eat the plastic. Well, as we've said, the empty sprues from tonight consume the biomass. That's what it is. Right, we're getting there. I'll wash it down with my beer. Right. Nearly there. So I've already built the heads for these guys. That's all sitting off one thing. I did that actually a couple of weeks ago. You don't have to watch me go through the pain of sticking together 36 head halves and then sanding them and trimming those up either. Just a bit. So hopefully next time I am online I will be back to painting, which is less tedious than watching me do this, but still tedious enough. What's that left? Six more to go. Oops. I guess my hand's in the way for a lot of this. What I'm tending to do is just use the tweezers to push them flat, so this edge of the top of the slotter base is level and flat on the base here, because if it's flat it just makes the groundwork preparation when you actually come to the painting so much easier. You don't have to sand anything down or fill above it or fill under it. You can just let the standard bit of paint that you put on there cover the elements for it. So kind of push it down and then lift it up very slightly. Difficult to tell. Let's do it this way, just so that it is all flush on there. Three more to go. And then I think that might be it for the evening. last one. The last one. There we go. Done. Right, I think that is me for the evening. I have had enough of Termagants for tonight. Possibly sometime tomorrow I need to go and now stick on 10 Devourers, 10 Fleshborers on these fellas, and they can join everything else on that shelf of shame for painting at some point later. Not tomorrow, that's for sure. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. It's been a pleasure having a chat to you. It's been a bit dull beforehand. I don't think anybody's really been on very much. So anyway, good luck with your vampire armies. Good luck with your knights. Good luck with your blood knights. Take care, fellas. Enjoy your days. Be good. Be safe. Don't be a dick. Take care.